All right. First and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Shem Yahushai, Shem Rakakwadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who were well and who was worthy to be counted for double honors. Peace and salutations to you brothers out there pushing this truth wholeheartedly and sincerely and for love of the gospel. It's the brother Gabaria from the Indiana camp coming back at you again with another sit down. All right, and I'm gonna entitle this video. Well, it's another installment of etymology words. And the word I got today is religion. All right. Now, I remember for a decent amount of time in the truth, especially in the early, 2010s, 11s, 12, 13s, all the way up to, I think, when I want to say probably like around maybe, probably 2019, 2020-ish, we were talking about how, how this isn't a religion. All right. This is, the truth isn't a religion. All right. We were pushing that heavy. And then I remember specifically Apostle Gabar was telling brothers to he made a video until it was telling brothers to stop saying this isn't a religion and look up words. All right. So he looked up the word religion and he was going into it, and I was just dwelling on it. I was thinking about it, and I was just, looking up words, seeing what I can go into, see what stood out. And I came across religion. And so I thought about, that time where the apostle had made that video, and I was going into it, and I'm reading it, and it was on point. All right. And when you compare it to the scriptures, everything aligns up perfectly. All right. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and read a little bit into it and get a couple words, and then I'm through the spirit and power of the Lord, I'm gonna close it out. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is the word religion. It says a state of life bound by monistic vows. Let's look up that word right quick. Let's see what monistic means. It says relate to monks, nuns, or others living under religious vows or building in which they live. All right. So basically, monknistic. So kind of like basically like monks, nuns, ones who devote their lives into a higher being, so to speak. It says actions of conduct indicating a belief in a divine power and reverence for and desire to please it. See, and that's basically, that's basically what we do. We put ourselves under a divine power and a reverence and a desire to please it. Who is that divine power? It's Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We devote our lives, we reverence the Lord, and everything that we do, we follow the scriptures, and we try to live our lives accordingly. Now we understand that, our lives can't be like monks or nuns or and stuff like, because what? We live in captivity, so what? Our lives are going to be semi-different. Okay. We're not going to be able to devote our how can I say, every fiber of our being into doing the things that we want to do. All right. Because the things that we want to wear, that's like basically trying to wear a white pair of Jordans, or wear some white shoes or white Air Force Ones is what I really wanted to say. Wear some white brand new Air Force Ones, and you walking around in the junkyard trying to not get them dirty. That's impossible, because we still have, lives to live. We still have responsibilities we got to take care of. And then it's not like we're coming into the truth as babies and being raised up in it. We're coming in as, as 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, young men, old men, middle-aged men. So some of us already have lives that's already established. All right. And the Lord understands that. That's why he gave us a grace period. All right. We're up under grace. All right. Which basically means the Lord's given us time to get it right. All right. He's given us a period of time to get things correct. All right. The Lord doesn't, he's not how can I say, requiring perfection at this moment, because he understands that all of our righteousness is as filthy rags. So the things that we do, it doesn't even really count if you think about it. Yeah, we stop eating pork. Yeah, we grow our beards out. Yeah, we don't mess with other men's women, but there's other laws that we go off on. Some brothers can't even keep the Sabbath. I want to say a majority of brothers can't even keep the Sabbath. Me myself is one. Can't keep the Sabbath in its entirety, is what I mean. What you're not supposed to do on the Sabbath. You're not supposed to buy, you're not supposed to sell, you're not supposed to kindle a fire, you're not supposed to do no laborious work. All right. You're not supposed to have sex with your woman. You're not supposed to do anything. You're not supposed to do that was pleasurable to your flesh. You know. There's certain things on the Sabbath that we can keep. Certain things that on the Sabbath that we can uphold. But keeping the Sabbath in its entirety is sometimes is something that's impossible for some brothers. All right. So because of that, is because what the Lord because of that the Lord put us upon a thing called grace. All right. So what we're up under a period where the Lord is not requiring us to get everything right, to keep the law 100%. All right. But what the Lord does require is for us to keep it to the best of our abilities, the things that we can do. All right. I don't know if you brothers ever heard when you was in school, sometimes your teacher may just give you an A for effort. All right. I remember one time that I didn't even think that was even possible, but my teacher knew how hard that I tried to on this project, and knew that, it was real, I was asking her questions. She can tell that I was really trying my best, but I didn't hit all the requirements for to pass the project. But then when I seen I still had a passing grade at A. I went to her and asked her, hey, I was missing certain things from my project, but I seen you still give me A. Well, I was like, how is that? I was confused. And she told me, she said, yeah, well, I just basically gave you an A for effort, and I was like, an A for effort. And she explained it to me like, well, I seen how hard you tried, and seeing that just because I wasn't going to hit you for every little nick, like, oh yeah, you didn't have this, or yeah, I told you to put it this way, and I told you to do this, you didn't have it, but I seen how hard you tried to strive for it. I still gave you a passing grade, so that's exactly what the Lord is going to, that's exactly what the Lord is going to give the elect, man, a passing grade, because what they're trying, especially in a world out here where people are not even regarding, the Lord. You see, people are just living their day-to-day lives, not even acknowledging that the Lord is giving them the benefits of that they need. Just you breathing, you able to wake up in the morning, you able to open your eyes and eat your breakfast, drink your coffee. That's all through the grace and mercy of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. What does the scripture says? What um, the Lord's mercy is upon all flesh. The Lord can right now just snap His finger and get rid of the human race in its entirety. If He wanted to. But what, the Lord is long suffering and merciful. But you got men out here who's gonna basically try to please the Lord. And yeah, they fall short sometimes. You might go, what did Paul say? Paul said that, he things that he wants to do, he doesn't, but the things he doesn't want to do, he does. So sometimes you might fall short, you might slip here and there. But the thing about it is, the scripture also says, what, don't let your sins weigh you down. You don't dwell on, yeah, you slipped and you feel what, you get back up, you dust yourself off, and you keep moving forward, and you be better next time. All right. So if that trial, that tribulation, that test comes up against you again, guess what? You'll be better. All right. A quick testimony, man. I went off a couple years ago. I was a young man. I went off on a Sabbath knowingly. Like, I knew it was a Sabbath, but I still dealt with my woman. And bro, the amount of guilt, or the amount of how can I say, ashamed I felt was like no other. And I vowed to myself that day. I was like, listen, from this day forth, I'm gonna be on the Sabbath 100%. You know, even days that I don't believe it's the Sabbath, I still might just keep it. So and from that day forth, man, I've always kept my eye closely on the Sabbath. You know, very close. Like I'm counting the days. I know, I know it's not tonight. I know it's tomorrow night. I know it's not. I'm counting the Sabbath. This is the fourth or the third. Let me go look. I'm watching the Sabbaths, man. And I've been like that. And brothers who know me know that, when it comes to the Sabbath, man, I'm keen on it. That's something I don't take. I don't take lightly. I don't play with the Sabbath, man. When it comes to that, I make sure I make sure I'm on top of it. All right. I even have a moon app, that I believe I paid for. I'm not 100% sure if I paid for it or not, but I have a moon app, phases of moon, and then I might Google it, just to double check, So I gotta, and then also I look for the videos that the brothers and the apostles put up, saying the Sabbath, the new, the Sabbath is coming in on this day or whatever. But sometimes, what if that page get taken down or something? You know, you supposed to, Lord might look at you like, yeah, now what you gonna do? You know. But let's get back to this word. Kind of went off topic a little bit. Um, yeah, it says old French religion, religion. It says piety, devotion, religious, a religious community. All right, and that word piety, if you remember that scripture in the book of Second Ezra, where Ezra said he looked upon the nations and he seen impiety without number. And that word impiety, and that word basically goes into basically non-reverence. All right. But this word is the opposite, which basically means piety, which means what? Devotion and reverence. All right. Dutiful. All right. That's actually a pretty dutiful. I never heard that one before. It says the piety of a saint, devotion, devotedness, devotion. It says religious, religion, holy, godly, sanctuary, sanctitude, reverence, faith, religion, duty, spiritual, religious. It says dutiful, obedience, defense, duty, respect, respectful. All right, acquaintance, submissive, submit. You know, it says an anonym, impiety. See, I just said, if you look at the word anonym, it's impiety. And impiety is basically the opposite of all this. So a person was being disrespectful, you know, he's being unsubmissive, he's being hard headed, he doesn't care, he doesn't give devotion. That's what Ezra said he's seen. He said he's seen what impieties without number, you know, and that's basically you see that now, man. You see impieties without number. You see what is it? You see people not regarding Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They can give two. They worry about what they got going on. They worry about the who going to the Super Bowl or who going to the playoffs or whatever. That's what they worrying about, or what they wife doing or what they kids. They got to put their kids through college and all this. All this worldly stuff. Who's actually seeking the Lord. Even these Christians that so called say, "Oh, I love God." You don't love God. They so called that gives their lives to the Lord. They don't even seek the Lord like that. They seek the Lord when it's benefit to them. Because guess what? I seen it was a guy doing prank calls, and he sometimes prank call Christians, and Christians are soon to get up out their skin, and they so called and listen. The things that Christians believe, like, oh, they don't cuss, they don't do all this and all that. But as soon as somebody make them mad or whatever, got all that Christian stuff go out the window. So these weak-minded individuals don't even believe in the things that they teach. Now there's nothing wrong with cussing and stuff like that, but to them they think it's wrong. They think it's a sin. So they're letting other people making them sin. That's like you remember that's like let's say you in the truth, you actually in knowledge of Yahweh Shemel Shah, and a woman's enticing you to lay with her, but she's but she has a husband, and you like, all right, now, I follow the truth, but you keep enticing me. I might just have to, denounce that's basically the mindset of a Christian, so they don't even believe in what they teach, man. Because if you're devoted, if you're that loyal to Yahweh Shem Shah, nobody should get you out your skin to make you sin. And every Christian that the so-called person pranks, they always go straight into you motherfucker, you this and that. And it was like, wait a minute, you a Christian? Why? How you talking to me like that? I don't give a shit about none of that shit. Like, well, damn, So they like they denounce the thing they believe in. So I bring that up to show you, man, who's really actually down for the Lord, man. Who's actually going to have the Lord's back? Who's actually devoted? Nobody. And you'll see upon the planet Earth, it's only a group of men who's actually devoted into what they believe in, man. All right. Now you do have some diehard Christians that's out there like that, but majority, we're talking about in the majority standpoint, that what that the Christian church ain't got it, And if you are a diehard Christian that think you got it, then guess what? You got it on the left hand side. All right. So it says religious. It says the Latin religium. All right. Or religio, which is which we used to bring out, which means basically tied down or bound to. Which if you think about it in the sense that, yeah, once you come into this truth, that's it. You're tied. You're bound. You know, the Lord even called it a yoke. The Lord even said, "What? Take upon my yoke." You know, it says respect for what is scared, reverence of the gods, consciousness, sense of right, moral obligation, fear of God's divine service, religious observance, a religion, a faith, a mode of worship, cult sanctuary, holiness. See, so look, if you call yourself a religion, or if you call yourself in a religion, that means you in a cult. So people love throwing that word out. Oh, you in a cult? You a cult? You a cultist? Are you in a cult? Well, if you in a religion, that's a cult. You know, that just shows you, man. These people don't look up words, and they don't know, and they don't understand words. All right, which basically where a cult only means worship. All right, let's see. Um, it says spec religious group. See, the word cult only means a religious group. So you so-called Christians, you so-called Buddhists, you atheists, if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in something, then guess what? You're in a cult. All right. How that's for, how do you like them apples? um, it was another thing I want to see. It also says, because it said, obsessed with fixation on, mana for, passion for, idolization of, admiration for, devotion to, worship of. See, all these things are what basically so-called cults people do, and then what the world, Esau Edom, he tries to switch it up and change all that. Cult is a bad thing. Like, no, a cult isn't a bad thing. A cult is a person who's devoted to a higher being, so people, you hear the word cult and they get all what? They get scared. They're like, oh, that's a cult. Yeah, that's evil. That's demonic. You know. It says to bind fast. That's what we used to go into religion. It looks like, yeah. It says this now is an action of the Caesarea for go. It says go through again. It says in reading or in thought, from re meaning again, and legio, which means read. All right, re-lecture. However, popular etymology among the ancient. Okay, yeah, that's basically all I wanted to get into. Yeah, bound between humans and gods. That's a good one. So we gonna get. This is James chapter 1 and verse 26. It says, "If any man among you seem to be religious, and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man religion is vain." See, because what's bridle mean? Let's go into the word bridle. Bridle is to what? To lead. By bridle, to guide. To bridle, to hold in check, to restrain. See, so that says what? This man religion is in vain. He has an empty religion. He has an empty belief. Because if you're devoted, and yeah, did I just say this about the Christians? What? They bridle not their tongue. They'll let other individuals get them out of character. You know, their religion is in vain. The Christian church is in vain. See, the Christian bridleth not his tongue. He doesn't have control over it. He'll just say whatever he want to say, whatever feels good. It says what? This man's religion is in vain, man. You know. There's another one I want to get, a pure religion. Yep. Oh, this is the next verse. 27. It says, pure religion and undefiled before Yahweh and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless, the widow in affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. Yep, basically, but keep yourself pure. All right. Pure religion. Let's see what the Strong's religion means. Religious worships, ceremony. Yep. Discipline. Yep. So, man, that's what religion is, man. So This thing of ours, Elder Apostle Gabar used to always say, this thing of ours, this religion, if you will, if you want to call it that, you know, this is this is a pure religion. All right, this is things that we're devoted to. All right, that we bridle our tongue, we keep our members up under subjection. All right, we are devoted to Yahweh Bashim Yashah. You know, we reverence the Lord and His Son. Okay, everything that we preach unto you, everything that we say, everything that the scriptures we bring out, the words we go into, the breakdowns that we give you, best believe we're living by those the same as as we're telling you. You know, and this religion of ours is pure. Okay, so that's all I had on the word. Yep, that's all I had on the word. Lord willing, I hope this video was edifying. Until next time, shalom.